So that's right.
Oh, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the chat.
Hey,
Hi.
Hey,
How's everybody doing tonight?
Great.
this is wonderful.
Awesome.
Yes, yes. Y'all look nice
Thank
thank
you.
you.
So do
in the,
you.
in the
So do
Big
you.
Apple. In the Big Apple. So we left London. We're in the Big Apple now. We're on a tour.
Hello, New York.
Yes, I love.
Awesome.
I love New York. How's everybody week?
Good so far. Good. Everything is
Yeah.
good for me.
I've been a little busy at work, but it's Monday. I'm not mad. Ready for the
Yeah.
next couple of days though. Ready for Friday.
Hello,
Yeah.
Kia. Welcome.
Welcome everybody. As for me, I've been recovering from a little surgical procedure, but everything is going pretty good. So
Good.
thank the
Good.
Lord for that.
Good.
Thank the Lord for that. So everybody that's tuning in, please take a minute to like and share, reach out to your family and friends. We have an awesome show for you tonight, great
Yes,
topics.
yes.
And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into topic number one.
Okay.
All righty. So I'm sure that everyone has heard about the now sexual harassment scandal that is plaguing New York's Governor Cuomo.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm probably going to upset a few women. You know, I know we've been dealing with this whole women's rights movement and Me Too and
Me
everything.
too.
I
Yeah.
know, yeah, but I am a woman, but I'm a little bit different. Um, I'm kind of over it.
Mhm.
Now, I do not condone sexual harassment, sexual assault, women's exploitation in any kind of way. However, I just feel like I'm over women who come out with these allegations well after they have taken place. I feel like at the time they put their careers before these allegations, and whatever else they have to gain before what they say their fears are or their discomfort, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Furthermore, um, men are afraid. How do they court women nowadays? You give a woman a compliment, it is sexual harassment. you know, she said that he asked her, "Do she like older men?" I don't see a problem with that. If he wanted to date a younger woman, I don't see that that's an issue. But she took offense to that, and I just don't know. What do you guys think? I just have a problem with it. I think that there should be some kind of mandates on these things. I don't care for it.
Well, yeah. I mean, for me, just when, like, on the surface level, right? I mean, more normally, I'm used to these people lying. I mean, he could have been like, I don't even know that woman, or the famous Bill Clinton. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. That's what I was waiting for. But he's
Yeah,
like, well, I was just flirting with her. So I mean, he
yeah,
outright said what it was. However, looking into the story, he invited her to the hotel room. I think they also he was asking about her marriage. Like it's a little bit too close. Like basically he wanted to start an affair with somebody who I think he may have been close to professionally, and I think it crossed the line, even if it was just flirting. If he ain't know this girl at all from Jack or Jill, maybe, right? But like, I mean, if he randomly talks to someone he doesn't know and says like, "So, are you interested in older guys?" I mean, that's not harassment. I mean, it might be unwarranted or unwanted, but that girl doesn't know him. But it seems like she had a relationship with him outside of, you know, that flirtatious kind of thing, and that's where the line, I think, got crossed in this case.
Maybe, but she went.
Well, what I was getting ready to say really fast is that, you know, the statute of limitations is like the thing, you know, because you can have that happen to you, but you still have a wide window, a wide window of time that you can go back and say somebody has sexually harassed you. And granted, you know, I'm not trying to dismiss whether she was sexually harassed or not, but it just seems like that window just stays open. It's just a long period of time.
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
And you know, it's whether maybe they didn't have the strength enough at that point to come out, and now they do. I'm strong enough to come out and say something about it, you know. But it's just like, okay, so now, and then it's like in some states they have up to 10 years or so to prosecute this person, and then it's all the whole DNA situation, you know, whatever. But I just think that, you know, asking a question is one thing, unwarranted or wanted touching, that's something, you know, totally different. But I mean, I do think that we just have to, you know, because we do know, you know, from previous stories that things can get physical with people. You know, if you tell them no, you know, then it becomes physical, and they do, you know, start doing bodily harm to you, becomes stalking situations. So it just has to be, you know, I do think that it maybe it should be reevaluated, especially, you know, as long as I don't recall really how long ago it happened, but at any rate.
Right. Well, what do you think?
I'm thinking that the whole statute of limitations needs to be revisited, just like with last week when we were talking about the child support. I think because we're in a different time, a lot of, you know, timing is everything. Everybody's saying, you know, because he's trying to run for 2024 presidency, they're trying to discredit him. And who knows? You know, I'm not saying that he didn't do it. I'm not saying that he did do it. I'm saying let's look at the facts and let's look at the timing. Let's look, you know, why now if it's been so long ago? You know, I think those are questions that should be asked. You know, what's provoking you to do that now, to bring it forward?
And most important, another reason is, why didn't you do it then?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I think all those questions say, what do you have to lose
when these type of allegations come forward? Because so many people are just misusing it. Yeah,
they do. And let's talk about this issue of flirtation, though. I mean. When does flirtation, aside from touching, you know, physically touching somebody, when does what you say out of your mouth, flirting with somebody, cross over into harassing somebody?
Well, one of the young ladies did come out and say that he grabbed her by the forehead and said, "Can I kiss you?" So, he grabbed her by her face and was like, "Can I kiss you?" And, you know, I think she was one of the young ladies that also came out and was, you know, like, you know, it made her feel a little bit uncomfortable. And, you know, as it may have, you know, but I'm not going to say whether you have or have not been sexually assaulted and what that made you feel like. And, you know, because again, you know, I don't know. I mean, I can't say that, but I do think that, you know, when you're talking, I don't know. It's just a very sticky situation, I must say.
Right. I would just say, like, you know, when it comes to the statute of limitations, I mean, there's levels to it, but I'll say that most of the time the men are getting off scot-free. So even if it's like a long time, you know, a lot of people still get off anyway, and I do think it should be revisited. Well, it depends on what we say. I'm just saying, we hear high profile cases and they don't get off, but they're high profile. So, you know, we'd have to look at the statistics to say, like, if the statute of limitations pass, you know, like, then they can't even be prosecuted in the first place. They might be sued or something. They might have to pay. But I think that it should just be revisited just so that we could say for modern times, especially because now we have social media. I mean, even now we're all at home in the pandemic, you know, can you imagine if it was like a chat message Like now people aren't seeing each other in the office. Can you imagine if it's like a message you sent and it was taken incorrectly because the tone is read right, and something like that. So I think it should just be revisited just because times are changing. But I do think here, I have some comments. She was a victim of sexual assault, so she has some issues. So I mean, if I wonder if Governor Cuomo even knew about that. Was he aware that she was a victim of sexual assault? Maybe he would have approached it differently. Adrian said, I think who you choose to date is not an appropriate question for the workplace unless you're talking to your friends. And I agree with that too. I mean, there's water cooler conversation, but
it depends on the work environment too. Yeah. Because I mean, at the salon, we always play around. And I know in the corporate environment, it would not be appropriate. But then again, I've been years and years and years ago, people making comment, but it's all in fun and jest. So it depends on what he had there.
And not only that, people meet their spouses at work. I mean, I'm just saying.
No, that's true.
You have to think also too. People refer to people as this is my spouse wife. I mean, my work wife or my work. Things like that. So it's a very like I said, it's a very thin line, and I guess you just have to be careful. And I guess the best thing to do is not to really just come close to that line. Just be as professional can be at your workplace, just to keep your name and keep you from being in the limelight of being, at this point.
Right. And I think it's important. I mean, to me, like people could be. I think here my wife was saying, I'm not one to say when someone shouldn't or should deal with the trauma of sexual harassment or abuse. We need to support women dealing with these issues. And I think, who's Governor Cuomo to me? If some lady said he was being weird and she worked with him, he deserves some kind of consequence. Now, if she can't prove it, then I mean, I don't think anything should happen if there's no proof or anything. He said he was flirting. So he admitted that he was flirting with someone that's a consultant to him. And I'm like, that's not, that's what I meant by earlier. I think that
you should come to the courthouse with clean hands. And all I'm saying is this, from the time it happened and the time that you reported it, if there is a gap in that period of time, we need to determine what were your motives for withholding the information, and did you benefit from it? If there was a benefit to you for withholding that information, I think that your whole complaint should be thrown out.
Exactly.
So if the person bribed the person not to say anything, their complaint should be thrown out because they benefited from the bribe at the beginning?
If they allowed that bribe,
because you weren't too scared. It wasn't that important because the same authorities you reported it to a year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years later would have been the same ones then. Exactly. Because I don't agree with that. If you were benefited at all for the delay in reporting it, I think your hands are filthy and they should let it go.
Dang, I think that's
I agree.
But I hear you.
I agree.
It's a different perspective.
Because once the money's gone or the benefit, you've already, used all the benefits, and now you're like, okay, I want to go back, and I wouldn't be surprised if he even, possibly threatened him that she was going to come forward with it for some more of the benefit. I wouldn't even be surprised if that happened.
And the benefit doesn't have to be monetary. You have people like, it could be, oh, my career wasn't as solid then, or I was an intern and I didn't want to get fired. Okay, well, your benefit was, oh, now you're solid in your career. You moved on. Now you're at a different network, and you got your pension. Now you want to come out? No, go on, clock in.
Yeah, and I think what Kimberly here,
gone somewhere.
The Kimberly here says flirtation crosses the line when it's unwanted. Also, when it comes from someone that is in a position of power, and I think that's important too because it is a thin line. But you guys are right. People meet their love of their life at work. At what point was it sexual harassment until the other person decided, you know what, I do kind of like them. I think they cute, right? And then it's not sexual harassment, right? As long as it's wanted.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think it sucks because you got to say, should this person, male or female, lose their job over this, Or is it because did they lose their job because of one interaction, or was it because over a period of time they kept flirting and that other person reciprocated?
But you also have to understand that some jobs have a fraternization policy.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you are not even allowed. So in some cases, it's like if somebody gets pregnant or it's like, okay, well, we're gonna get married to keep it from being like a fraternization case or whatever the case may be, especially if you have like a supervisor who's now married, an employee, or even in the military, like, that certain thing. You've seen that where it's like if people find out these people risk losing their rank, they risk getting put out of the military, and so then they have to end up secretly going to get married or secretly, or whatever, or, all of these things that have to be done before somebody in the higher ups find out to keep them from, so there is, especially those, there's many different, I don't know why I said fraternization cases, but
I think that's the right word.
Clauses and things like that at people's jobs, but and you're not supposed to, draw the line. I mean, create that.
Well, yeah. So so my mom and Amy, they both brought up Bill Cosby. Is it Tavis Smiley? Yeah. And I think those are important too, because with Tavis specifically, I'll never forget reading about that. And I'm just like, man, if I knew I would have to pay 1.5 million, is that work wife worth it?
Yeah,
right? Like
he's done. You haven't heard anything. He's done. That literally, like, that wiped him all the way out anyway. But it's just, yeah.
Oh, now Justin's over here. He said, what if they told you to take it, shut up, or they'll kill your family? That's kind of where I was going with it was, those bribes, it's not just the money, like it's more than that. It's that power aspect. I mean, it's the governor of New York. Like, that's not just some guy that could just give you $100. Like,
and let me clarify, when I was talking about benefit, I wasn't talking about like those kind of bribes, but in the case of, I believe like Bill Cosby and everything, you had people that just came out of the woodworks. Like they were just coming, I'm like, okay, you worked with him. You was on set. You was on this. Okay. But now it's 20 years later and you done had 10 roles. You were a solid actress. You didn't want to be blackballed. That's why you didn't say anything back then.
And the thing,
that's what I'm talking about.
Right. And the thing with me with Bill Cosby, that whole situation, I just felt like, okay, if you're going to, even today, like this, okay, this still applies. Still applies. If somebody invites you to their hotel room,
what you expect?
I mean, come on.
That's what I'm saying. They did not have clean hands.
Right. I'll just say, even with clean hands, if you did something wrong, but somebody else did something wrong, and you take them to court, I mean, both y'all did something wrong. Somebody's gonna get punished. Like I don't care if one person had dirty hands too. Like, but I do see that in some situations.
Amir, in a lot of cases where women bring up these allegations, they are looked at as doing no wrong.
Are you sure? The way the media attacks them?
A lot of times they are.
Okay. All right. Sometimes I think you're right sometimes, but I think in general, people tear apart those people for the very reasons we're bringing up, that they should have had the clean hands at the end of it, I think.
Okay, so, and Fabian just said, let's not victim blame. And I don't want to seem like that's what we're doing, but the fact of the matter is still like, okay, you still have to play a part. You still have to play a part. This man was married. This man, he was a married man. When all of these women were going to their room, he was still a married man.
And you're talking about which one? Which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about Bill Cosby.
Okay.
He was still a married man. Now, I'm not saying that what he did was right. I'm not saying that at all. It was not right that he did that. But at the top of it, it should have been like, okay, this is a married man, and I'm not going to go just on the principle that he's a married man. And although you're like, okay, well, my career could be, he said he's going to help me in my career. He could say, well, okay, well, why can't he do that down on set? Why can't he do that? Why can't he talk to people down on set? Like, why do you have to go to his room and that he's a married man? So I don't want it to seem like we are victim blaming, because I would never want that to be, if I had a situation and I came out with that, or my daughter or anybody's daughter, comes out with that. I would never want anybody to, or, to feel like somebody's victim blaming her, but, or, whatever. But I just still feel like you have a responsibility to, as somebody's husband. Like, so, I mean, I'm personally not, unless I have a whole motive of going,
Oh yeah, Adria has a good point. In my opinion, there, like they didn't care if he was married, but he drugged them, and that was really to me the key with Bill Cosby, because I don't think anyone was, oh, they had sex with Bill Cosby. Okay, I mean he's a celebrity, right? But he was drugging people. A lot of people at the first thing forget about the victims. A lot of people were like, Bill Cosby was drugging women, like all people. So I mean, they were already mad just at the fact that he did that, but it was still bad regardless.
So do you think, okay, then what, so do you think it was because he, like, it would, like, do you think it would have went as far as it did had it not been for them drugging him drugging them, or would it have just like, okay, well, I was in Bill Cosby's room and we slept together and that was that? So do you think that the drugging part is what prompted them?
I think if they weren't drugged, they just would have been looked at as prostitutes.
Right, but I think the drug he was using, I mean, they considered it a drug that people use to
date rape,
like a libido kind of drug. So I mean, like, it wasn't just any kind of drug. It was the same thing like when Rick Ross said that he put Molly in her champagne and she wouldn't even know it. And everyone's like, whoa, like, I mean, you realize what you're saying there, right? Like, you putting a drug in her, she doesn't know, and now she wants to. And then he said, I took her home and I enjoyed that. Like, what? Like, so it was the same kind of thing with Bill Cosby. So, yeah, I don't know. This is just real.
I wish the best for Governor Cuomo, and
I do not know
his alleged victims. So moving on. What's our
right? Yeah, it's okay. Speaking of people that are famous and are really sometimes considered above the law, and have all these people on them constantly. For me, over the weekend, the bombshell was dropped with Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, Oprah. And Oprah's reaction is the top GIF right now. If you search GIFs, she killed that interview, asking all the questions. And remember, our best friend Black Twitter was all over this interview, covering it bit by bit. Let's just say some of the highlights are that, number one, she said that they were questioning how dark the baby was going to be, baby Archie. Interesting name, by the way. And another thing was, she said that with all of the pressure, she was thinking about taking her own life.
Yeah.
I mean, goodness. So, to me, number one question to everybody will be, what do you think is too far? Like, do you think that she should have done the interview, first off? And second, how do you think this is going to affect her in the future? Do you think they're going to try and do her like Princess Diana? I can't confirm that happened or not.
Well, first, let me go in and say that Oprah spoke today on CBS this morning, I believe, and she said that Harry wanted her to let everyone know that his grandmother and grandfather were not any of the two people that were asking about the baby's color. It was the other people, but he would not reveal, who it was.
Who they were.
Yeah, who they were. But I actually, at first I was looking at it and I was like, I don't believe her because she's an actress. I just didn't believe her. I believe Harry a lot more than I did, but then further on into the interview, I'll say, oh, okay, I can get it. I just saw a whole bunch of acting from Meghan, which I guess comes natural because she is an actress. But
well, also it's because she was speaking secondhand, honestly, and a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, stuff that Harry had told her, right? Which is another thing. I don't understand why most of the interview was her if Harry was the one who really, So I don't know whether, I understand why they did it because, all these moves that they're making, they're going to be well set. I didn't know that his whole family cut him off last year financially. Said that he still had what his mom had. I think she left $20 million for each one of them. But, the queen is worth $600 million. So for him to be living that type of lifestyle and get cut off, I think she finally owned her power. If I don't know what her intention was, but I know in the end, they talked about being financially stable. They're going to absolutely be that. After Netflix is offering them 150 million for what they're going to do with them, 150 million for what they're going to do with Netflix.
And people got mad.
She did say she was not paid for this interview. Oprah did say that she wasn't paid for it, but she didn't need to be. Oprah gave her the platform for a whole bunch of opportunities, so they're going to be good. They were smart.
What I wanted to say was this, though. Okay, so I don't know what she thought was going to happen. I mean, I feel for her because there's a lot of junk that's been talked about her and like him marrying her and all this kind of stuff and being black and all this. But my thing is, I'm trying to figure out what did she think was going to happen? What did she think was going to happen when she went to the royal family?
Because I knew this was going to happen.
Right, I mean, like, did she really think she was going to take care of her baby? Did she really think that she was going to, like, you were supposed to watch the movie and all these movies about Princess Diana and how, the queen was with, with Prince Harry and his brother. Like, I don't know what she thought was really going to happen. I mean,
well, she was engaged to the grandchild who lived that life, and if he didn't warn her, why should she think any different?
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, there's still like a certain part of me that would think, okay, my life is really not going to be the same. Like, I'm not going to be I'm just not going to be able to just walk outside the house and go smell flowers.
No, of course. I mean, I don't think she thought that at all. I knew. She said she wrote a letter to the person about, she was ready to be accepted into the family and do this and that. I just think it's the inequality that she said she received, because she said nobody stood up for her. People stood up when the tabloids and everything went after what's that girl name? Kate. She said tabloids and the press came to her defense, but they didn't come to Meghan's defense when people were coming after her. So she perhaps in America, I guess she was black or mixed or whatever, and going over there, she thought that she would be protected because maybe from Harry, because Harry was her fiance.
Yeah, and I think he's done a good deed, because I think that I don't even know which one of them it is that I've been watching. Well, that I have watched, and I don't even know which one it is that
The Crown.
It might be. I'm not sure. I don't even know the name of it.
Yeah, I've been watching The Crown.
Telling their story, and but I can see him being the one, like because to me he's more of the protective one. Like, I don't want to go through what my mom goes through, so I can see him being the protector of her, that and how his mom was treated. Because when I watched the movie, I mean, they were like, she wasn't royal anymore, so we really don't I don't give a damn what you do, with her or whatever, and it was like people who were fighting, like, why she's the people's princess or whatever. And like, we need to do more than just like send her off in this damn wooden box. Like, come on now. We need to, but yeah, they weren't really trying to do anything. But we do have some comments. Kia says, the royal family has a history of doing this. This is not unusual behavior for them. Kimberly says, it was Charles shaking my head. He's horrible. Adrian says she wanted to throw the royal fam under the bus and he wasn't having it. He will not speak negative about his people. She also said she thought she was going to be a game changer in the palace.
Yeah.
Dorothy says she thought that they would ignore the black side.
Yeah.
She was dragged through the mud and nobody supported her. I think that he's trying to do the best that he could, but you're right, because the tabloids is the ones who are really dragging her. And and of course this was her second marriage, and she just had a lot of odds built up against her anyway.
All I have to say is I want somebody to love me like that, through it all the way for me.
Yeah, he's been by her side. I mean, I don't know what else he's supposed to do, especially
the whole royal title, 600 mil. He said, "Y'all can have it."
Yeah. But I think he's always been one to do his own thing. I don't think he's everywhere, because y'all know that he used to like Rihanna, and he used to, just be all the places he wasn't supposed to be.
Can y'all imagine
not Harry, but William has been a lot more calculating and safe, because he's actually could possibly be king one day.
Yeah,
right.
Harry pretty much doesn't have a chance, because it goes through William's lineage first, and then Yeah, so he's like, okay, I can do whatever I want to do.
Yeah, he is. I love him.
Maybe a certain part of me would have done a lot of research about the royal family before saying I do. Vanessa says it was his dad. They treated her like they treated Diana, leaving her in the house alone, no outside visitors. The Crown gave a great backstory on how Charles treated Diana. Meghan became a bit too influential, liked by the people. Yes, I believe that.
Yeah.
Dorothy says Harry did more to protect his family than Charles did. Absolutely. Robin says Harry did. Oh, I'm sorry. Harry has definitely leave and cleave. Justin says the royal family can stop it all, and they didn't know. Stop it all, and they didn't know. Kia said, laugh out loud. He be dancing in Africa.
Yeah. Harry's enjoying his life. I ain't got nothing to lose.
Because all I'm saying is, what did you expect? The Queen of England, born in 1926, inherited one of the most murderous empires in the entire world that gave birth to the second one, the United States of America. You mean to tell me that these people are going to be okay with you? Like what? They wiped out an entire population of Black people on the island of Tasmania. And you mean to tell me they're just going to be okay with you? Being in their family. And a lot of people were surprised because they're saying they didn't even know she was Black. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what I was going to say. Maybe she thought that it wouldn't be as bad because she could pass.
Because she wanted the regular Black.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's why I said imagine if Rihanna was in that position.
But but her daddy acted a fool though. Her daddy acted a pure fool. So I think that was like, that was kind of like an embarrassment factor for them too. It's like, okay, now your daddy is trying to do a tell-all book, and he acting foolish, and y'all don't even want him to come to the palace. Your mama's come, and then she got locks, it's just like, so it was just a lot. I think it was just a lot. She was the black, like the authentic, she was just like. And then your best friends with Serena, come on, like the thickest Black, like you just.
and Serena is dark. She coming to the palace.
The thickest Black.
Come on now.
Like yeah. So they weren't ready. They weren't ready. Yeah. So anyway. All right. So moving on about let's talk about. It's just so much. It's just so much that has happened, and I'm just like, this is crazy. But anyway, this story comes out of Richmond, Virginia, and it is about a young lady, and I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce her name because it's very simple. Her name is very long. But she had been missing for about a month, and they found her, I think it was last week. She was 23 years old, and they found her in her car, deceased. And they have been looking for her, and finally they found her. And her mom, her mom went to the restaurant that she was supposed to have went to and saw footage and saw her with this guy, and then the guy is not cooperating. And her mom basically, when she did an interview, she said that when people go out, they need to tell somebody where they're going. And it's not that parents and people trying to get in your business, it's just for safety measures. So my question to you is, and I'm going to tell y'all a story too after I say this. My question to you is, what kind of measures do you go through when you are dating someone? Because, this is like the day and age of online dating, dating sites and things like that. People are meeting more people online and through other people, or we have familiar friends, and I'm going to get in your DM and all this. So like, what are some of the things or some of the measures, if any, that you go through before you actually go out to a public place with somebody? And I would tell y'all, when Will started dating Justin.
You can tell mine. Oh, that's what you want to tell. Okay. I thought it was some of your business, but go ahead.
It's our business. It's our business. I asked him. I was like, so I mean, did you do a background check? Did you?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Okay.
Like I was like, what did you do? Did you Facebook him? Did you Google him? Like what did you do? Like, whatever. And
Grace and mercy. Grace and mercy. That's all I can say. As a matter of fact, that whole single season, I was like on all the apps. So I don't know how, grace and mercy. That's all I can say.
Man,
I ain't want nobody in my business. So I ain't telling nobody nothing.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
All right, let me just read this last comment from our last. Okay, but they should have been a little more compassionate because Megan wasn't the only Black female that has graced the royal family. And then Kia says, that's my biggest thing. I'll tell everyone everything. And this is okay. So she's talking about this particular topic. When my friends go out, they tell me we take pics, license plates, etc. If you go out and don't tell me, I'm gonna F you up, point blank, period.
Really?
That's me. I don't play them type games.
And she's right. She
You're
is
gonna
right.
beat your friend up?
We go together. If we
So
go
this
together,
is any date, any first date.
yeah, if we go together, even if we're out with my friends, if we go together, if me, you, and 3 other people go together, we leaving together. If he buying you a drink, he buying everybody a drink, or if she buying everybody a drink, whatever. And nobody's leaving. If we all can't go wherever she going, she can't go. Like that's how. No,
Really?
Oh, y'all. Wait a
I
minute.
was raised. You don't leave nobody. Don't nobody get left behind. Don't nobody leave with nobody unless everybody is going. No,
We all going back to the hotel room.
we going. Everybody going. or ain't nobody going.
Hey,
Dude.
I guess my friends don't love me. They say, all right, bye, call. Text me tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, no, you should want to protect your friends. I think there's truth to that. Like, but I mean, that sounds a little different. That sounds like a night out on the town versus a dinner date or something.
Right.
So I mean, but I think it's true. Honestly, I was living dangerously, man. I'm happy. I'm lucky. Ain't no girl try to set me up to get robbed or anything like that. I wasn't background checking or anything. Now I'm married. I don't got to worry about it. I survived.
You survived. We made it.
Well, did Fabian, did she do a background check on you? Did you do a background check on her?
No, I didn't do one on her, but I don't know. I mean, maybe as we got it, but I think we just asked questions. But I think when we met each other in college, I mean, we didn't think that we weren't dating or anything. So we kind of already knew each other as friends. And then when we reconnected, it hadn't been too many years. I definitely didn't think like I should background check her since she got out of college. I don't know. Like I maybe. Oh yeah, she said she should have.
She should have. I would like to know, has anybody ever done a background check on somebody that they were dating, other than Shanika?
I've never done one.
I don't think I would have ever. Now go through their social media. I've done stuff like that. But
yes, I have done that.
Actually type in some letters on the keyboard and do a background check,
or even Google image, because so like I know somebody who did a Google image on this guy. He was on a lot of gay sites. Like his picture was on a lot of gay sites, and she's like, I mean, that's cool if that's, but I'm just not into that. And then he was like, we can't even. She was like, no, I'm sorry, like I'm just not into that, whatever. But yeah, even Google imaging people, because it'll pull up pictures of different sites or whatever that they're on or visited and things like that. So, and just because sometimes people don't even give you their real name, like, and you just thinking that this is, whatever. You go, or then they told you James, and you go around their family and they calling him Robert. Like.
I think it's true though. I think we should include social media and Google searching as a background check, honestly, because now that you bring that up, I definitely did, because I want to make sure that Steve isn't about to come and be like, you texting my girl. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that this person is single, at least on social media, or it's not a catfish.
I avoided being catfished by doing a Google image.
Really?
I did. So yeah, that is real. And actually I had somebody that I was talking to tell me that told me straight up, he went through my social media. It looks like you have something to lose. So, basically, he said, yeah, you all right, looks like you have something to lose and all that kind of stuff. So I check social media, and I do, if I do any type of online dating, I'm definitely going to do Google search.
At least. And if you saw, my wife said my photo's been used as a catfish for different
real?
multiple times, and
Really?
and it reminds me of what, and I was actually reminded of it, Shanika, when you said that they Google image search somebody and they were on a gay site under a different name. Somebody used my photos to catfish gay men on a dating profile. I'll never forget this because a friend of mine I went to college with, he was like, "Hey, Beer, you know, just checking in on you." And he sent me the screenshot. And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "I've known you a long time. I know you're not into that kind of stuff, but." I was like, "This guy's looking real familiar," and I'm like, "Oh man, like thank you." He reported it for me, but I was like, "It's you know anything."
Oh my
But
goodness.
you ever Google yourself? Like I Google myself all the
Yeah,
time.
Google yourself.
Out there.
Somebody had the nerve. The next person had the nerve to ask me why I'm not posting more photos, and I was like, "What you talking about?" And they're like, "Can you post some more? I need to use them because I'm trying to talk to this girl." And I was like, "Wait." You have the audacity.
They can steal them?
Yes. I never forget. I was like, "What? Oh, you want to use? You're asking my permission to catfish somebody?" I'm like,
Like, yeah, that's crazy.
I said, "What if I go to your
Oh my
town?"
God.
He's like, "Well, I live in a small town in Mississippi." I'm all like, "No, all right, forget that." Like, no. It's like I was so mad. I wanted to delete all my photos after that, honestly.
That's crazy. Okay, wait. I wanted to do Robin. She said, I do social media, white pages, and get their addresses. Google it, look at the house yard and everything. Do LinkedIn. You have to do the search. I mean, I believe that. I feel like we living in a day and time where you got to.
Yeah.
And then now Google will take you all the way up to somebody's front door. Yes, I need to see how many cars in the driveway. I need to see, you know, where you're living at, all that.
Are you talking about Google Earth?
Yeah. They going on with the little yellow person, the street view.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, nah, his house.
In the driveway.
Oh
You
my
can
God.
He only has a one-car garage.
Too much.
Yeah.
That's a hoopty out front.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's just keep it moving.
What you got for us, Will?
Okay, so this is a little bit of my situation. I just want your opinion. We had not a little heated discussion, but a funny discussion about how life is going to look for me and Justin in years to come. But, I found I'm in good company. Couples with a large age gap often raise eyebrows in society. And partners with more than a 10-year age gap in experience. Also, they sometimes, experience social disapproval from people. But when it comes down to our own relationships, both men and women prefer someone typically their own age, but are open to someone 10 to 15 years their junior or senior, 10 to 15 years. I'm a little bit outside of that window with my spouse. We're 20 years different. So now, Patti LaBelle, let me show you how good Patty's doing, living her life with her spouse. Well, not spouse, I think they're just dating. Okay, so Patti LaBelle, she's 76. Her significant other is 46, and they've been together for 5 years. So they met when he was 41. And then Lionel Richie, he is 71, and his girl is in her 30s. Leonardo DiCaprio has a girlfriend who's 23 years younger than him. And then you guys remember last year, Marcus Houston from Sister Sister married a young lady who was 20 years younger than him. So I want to ask you guys two questions. Number one, how much of an age gap do you feel is socially acceptable? And then do you think couples with large age gaps experience better or worse relationship outcomes than those couples with similar ages?
Great questions. You
know what?
And be honest. You can hurt my feelings. I don't care.
I think to be honest, I think that usually, I'm not gonna say usually. In my case, my husband and I are like a 3 or 4 year difference. But I think that we are similar kind of in the age range. So we kind of we are used to or know of the same things. So it's sometimes it's like, okay, you know, we've grown from the 70s on up to now. So we kind of learned and grown together. But I think that when you are old, like if you're an older person and you're dating a younger person, I do think that younger person can keep you younger, and that you know, like I just think that they just give you a younger vibe. I think that when you are the same age, you're growing old together. That's just it. You're growing old together, and that's just what it is. But three. And you know, but I think that people go, you know, it's like people go for the younger because I think it just keeps them young. I think it keeps them mentally alert. I think it keeps them young. I think that, you know, like, why do I want somebody if I'm kind of like old and really not really old, because even though he's 70, Lionel Richie looks good. And even Patti LaBelle, like, you know, they both still be getting around fairly well. So, you know, and I'm sure that both of their the people that they're dating, I'm sure that guy has a good sex drive, I would think, and that young girl is still have a good sex drive. So I'm assuming Lionel Richie and Patti LaBelle got to be putting it out somewhere.
So what age difference do you think is socially acceptable?
Yeah, what age range do you think? Do you think 10
years
apart?
15, 20?
I think okay, so I'm not gonna say I think that it whatever floats your boat, because to be quite honest, my daughter is 22, and just me personally, I don't feel like that she would be ready to date a 40-year-old man. I personally don't. Like, maybe when she's 40, and then she can maybe date somebody who's 60 if that's what she chooses. But at 22 and her dating a 40-year-old man, I personally mentally just don't think that she would be ready to date a man. Like, I mean, like, she's still.
So you think it depends on the age of the people?
In a way, like, in a sense. Because I just personally don't see my 22-year-old, not getting up, because I'm not getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning making a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Like, no, I don't.
I think it's true. I think case by case basis. Sometimes you're more shocked than you should be. I mean, for me, I'm sitting there like, how does Patti LaBelle look younger than the guy? First off, I know money buys happiness, but,
yeah,
right? Like, money buys youth. I mean, goodness. I just think there's certain situations where maybe they can't relate, but I can't see how, like, honestly, relationship problems, in my opinion, kind of transcend that. Like, you might focus on age. We don't relate. You do these kind of things and I don't. You're too old. But I mean, to me, it's still that root cause of, like, that communication and genuinely liking to be around the other person. So I think as long as both people are getting what they need out of the relationship, it's fine. But oftentimes, you know, I just can't see, especially somebody who's in their early 20s, if they're dating somebody who's like 40, 50, I'm questioning the motives of the older person, because I'm going to turn 30 in a couple of weeks. And I'm like, oh my God, I just could not imagine just having conversations with somebody in their early 20s. I'm all like, oh, you still think that that's important? Okay, you know, and I'm like, I'm not even that old. Like, I'm like, goodness.
You know what? Funny, because when Justin and I met, I think he was 25. Justin, I believe. And in our early conversations, I always justified, because Justin, anybody who's hung around Justin knows he has an old soul. He acts like an old deacon. So that is what really, his maturity level was really accelerated for somebody his age to me. And he didn't go to the club. Yeah, that really, really mattered. But what really got me is when we were talking about Monica Lewinsky, and he had no clue of who Monica Lewinsky was. And there have been a couple people who I've asked, like celebrities that were in our generation. He had no clue. I was like, okay, there it is. There's the age difference. Yeah, but that was just funny. But other than that, you know, everything is good. Our communication is good because of his maturity level. I don't think the average, Justin's 29, I'm 49. I don't think the average 29-year-old person I could date.
Yeah, but I think it's case by case. And I think you have to be, if not 30 and above, like right where Justin is, at least 30. and you can go for 10 to 20 years. I think I would exclude the 20s altogether for big age gaps. I just don't think that age group is ready. For me personally, at the age I am now, I find it difficult to date younger men, just because, like, I'm not having any more kids. I just find it difficult.
Yeah, and I've never dated anybody younger. That they've always been in the same, like 30, 40s. We've always been in the same decade. I've never dated, and I told him that you're way too young. But as we got to know each other, love developed, and he was mature for his age. So
And that's being considered for a lot of things, maturity level. They even consider maturity level now for kids to be able to stay at home alone. So maturity level matter.
Okay.
I will say, like, honestly, just the difference between 20 and 25 is like light years, honestly.
It's huge.
Oh yeah.
You're going through a different crisis, and then 25 to 30 is different. So
right.
Well, make sure you all continue to share. I know we're getting down to the hour, but please make sure you share, because we are literally, guys, like only 100 and I think like 125 people away from having 1,000 followers.
We can
So
do
we
it.
want to make sure that you all, and go and follow us on Instagram too, because I just created a page. So follow us on Instagram as well. So yeah, thank you.
What is the Instagram handle? Do you know?
It's the chat _757, I think it is.
Okay.
Okay, you guys. So let me ask you guys a question. Have you ever been ghosted or ghosted somebody?
Yes. Yes.
He said yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
How did it turn out? Why?
Just not interested, and I really don't have a good reason to tell you why. That wouldn't get me cussed out or look bad. Yeah, Shanika, like what we were talking about the other day earlier today about the weight thing. Remember?
Yes.
And then they threw me shade when I was like, "Oh, okay." Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have. You haven't, Amir?
No, I definitely have, and honestly,
So have you
wouldn't even
been ghosted or you ghosted somebody?
both. And I'll say I didn't necessarily take it personal, because, and my wife knows this about me, I forget about people fast. If we're not talking, I forgot about you. And and I don't necessarily do it on purpose, but I definitely remember in the dating time, like if I wasn't really that interested, there might be like or the conversation wasn't flowing, like, hey, what you doing? Nothing. What you doing? Nothing. Then that was it. Nothing else was needed to be said. And I didn't think of it as ghosting. And I mean, I think as we got older, maybe I would, like back then, if I knew what I knew now, maybe I would have tried something different, but definitely was ghosting people back then for sure.
Wow. What about you, Shanika?
No, I've been married a long time. Who the hell am I ghosting?
I don't even think ghosting was out back then.
Well, I mean, back then, if you didn't pick up the phone, they didn't know what happened. You may have been an actual ghost. You may have died.
No.
Look, Fabian said, Amir, you were breaking all those hearts.
I don't know if their heart was broken. I ghosted them.
So sad. I've done both too.
Okay, then. Yeah, I was like, we still waiting for your answer.
So why not just tell them you're not interested?
Yeah, I was talking to my cousin about it. We were talking yesterday. So that's why I feel bad. So I'm just saying, I guess for moving forward, I'll just cut it off. I would say something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's easy to say, it's not working out or we're not compatible. That's easy to say.
I'll say it has to get to a certain point. I've never ghosted anybody that, like, like I think that we've had some kind of serious relationship, even if it wasn't like a full on titles boyfriend and girlfriend. I think if there was some kind of outside, or if I might see that person again, like we travel in similar circles, then the conversation would need to be had. But just thinking back on it, the people I ghosted, it was easy. You know, I didn't have to worry about seeing them again. Definitely didn't have to worry about the conversation.
So it was. Dorothy said back then it was Iggin. So I don't know.
Iggin.
Did I Iggin anybody? Did I Iggin anybody?
Oh yeah, Iggin people. Guys, this is funny. Y'all are tripping me out.
I can't even.
But I'll do better next time.
You ain't ignore somebody, you see it on the caller ID, and you just. Once caller ID came in there, that to me, that's when it started. Once I was able to see who was calling me, and I mean, I'm too young. I mean, I remember when caller ID was like still kind of new, but it was always there when I was a kid.
Yeah,
but I remember like that was when I had the little caller ID thing. I remember going like, nope, you know, just kids at school. Like, nope, I don't want to talk to them.
Well, see, I mean, and I think that back then, like, I don't know, all I can really remember is just having a cell phone that was this big, and that you couldn't talk. Your time wasn't free until after 9 o'clock. Like, I don't know, and I don't know. I was just always working, so I don't remember. I had too much other stuff on my mind. I don't think I really.
Kia said, so you don't think people need closure? That's a good point.
Yeah, I guess I never cared.
That makes it very awkward. Like if you're ever in that same situation, in the same room, in the same vicinity, right. You're just like, do you speak?
But at what point do you owe somebody closure? Like at what? Like how long of talking to a person do you feel like you should be giving them closure? Because like Amir said, if we were just like, hey, what you doing? What you doing? Nothing. All right, and that's that. You know, like, okay, we just didn't talk no more, and that was like a week or whatever. Like, how long should you be in a situation before you feel like you owe somebody closure?
I think whenever there is a reciprocation of interest between each other, and then maybe something happens, you don't like them no more, then you decide, you know, I don't know how you can word it. I ain't never did it. So
I guess I'm bad.
Somebody else. I'm committed to somebody else now. Like, I don't know.
Or, you know, perhaps we can just be friends. I mean, back in high school, they used to say we can just be friends.
So I mean, I've been ghosted and I've had people give me closure. And honestly, both of them felt the same.
Really?
I mean, I was mad, like they didn't calling me back, but whatever. Then I got the whole like, you know, I'm just not in a place in my life where we could date Amir. And I'm like, damn. Well, okay, see you later. Like, you know, like I gotta same thing, gotta move on.
Dorothy says, do people deserve to know why? I don't think so.
My husband tried to ghost me. He did try to ghost me. He did. He tried it. He said,
what happened?
He said,
why did it fail?
Okay, so what happened was he came to my house, and this is like the first time I had met him. So I met him like in 1989, right? And he came to the house, and then I kissed. I was fat. I was kind of fat. Okay, my mama up here, but I was kind of fat. So I had kissed him, and so like sometimes it went like about a week or so it went by, and then he was like, well, you know, I ain't really been calling you because I'm gonna be joining the army, and so I'm not even really trying to have a girlfriend. And I was like, but you ain't gone yet. You still here.
So she married him and went with him.
No, actually I did not.
You did.
I did not. So then, we went on. We ended up dating. He left the year after I graduated. I went to college. He came here to the Navy. He didn't even join the Army. He joined the Navy. He came here for the Navy. I stayed in school. We got married in 1995, and I still did not move with him after we got married. And I had no intent to move with him when we got married. I had every intent to stay at home with my mom, and I stayed there for 4 months. And I was like, well, I don't think I'm going to come be with you. And he was like, girl, stop playing. And I, like 4 months after we were married, I came here to be with him.
Virginia. Oh wow.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he tried ghosting me, and then he stayed around for that time, and then he worked at. It was crazy. He worked at Wendy's. I worked at Wendy's. He was doing my work. I
Well,
told you.
Shanika, we'll definitely want to hear that story next time around. We know our hour's up for sure. I really want to hear more about this. Definitely, everyone out there, please continue to like and share, subscribe. You know, it's been a wonderful Monday night, and we're gonna look forward to entertaining you next week on Monday as well. So you're watching the chat. Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Good night,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, guys.
We're only like 100 and some people away, right?
Yes.
So let's
yeah,
see if we can do it by next week. If we could do that by next week, that'd be wonderful.
Yes.
Let's do
Continue to
Absolutely.
share,
Like and
please
share.
share. Because we had like 28 or so people share from last week. So just continue to share, continue to just post the replay, all of that, because it definitely helps. It definitely helps us keep us at the top of your feed. So it definitely works. So just keep doing that.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the comments. And we will definitely see you all next week with some more hot topics. Have
All
a
right.
See
good
you Monday.
night. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.